Ladies and gentlemen, today we're taking a look at one of the more sought after champions in the game. Actually, no, this is the wrong one. Today we're taking a look at Onslaught, the champion that single-handedly saved the mutant class even though he's not really a mutant, and I don't think he needs any introduction. We've all faced him in Battlegrounds, we all faced him in the Springs of Sorrow event, and so without wasting any more time, let's actually go over all of his abilities and then later on discuss why you should play him. His first light and first medium attacks do not make contact with the opponent, and incoming bleed, incinerate, and shock's potency is reduced by 150%. His debuffs also gain 50% increased ability accuracy against skill champions, and if a personal debuff or the stun from the parry mastery is purified or prevented, he will then re-inflict the debuff as a passive instead. As for his crush passive, whenever the opponent's combo meter passes a multiple of 10, he gains a non-stacking crush charge, and when he starts attacking, he actually consumes this charge and inflicts a crush debuff for 3 seconds, which allows incoming attacks to be unblockable. Why does he have a crush on A-Bomb? However, once he's struck by a special attack, this charge will actually be removed. Whenever either champion performs a well-timed block, he inflicts an indefinite daunted debuff of 15% potency, which increases the amount of damage the opponent takes during special attacks, and the max stacks of these that you can have is 10. This daunted also disables the opponent's willpower mastery, but let's actually move over to his neuroshocks. Whenever either champion attacks, there's a 15% chance to inflict a neuroshock passive, dealing a certain amount of damage over 12 seconds, and another effect of neuroshock is that it actually prevents miss. Launching critical hits and unblockable special hits will have their chance increased by 40% flat or double against skill champions. If you're actually fighting Onslaught, dodging backwards will remove one of these, but there's actually a 2.5 second cooldown. If Onslaught is suffering from a shock, incinerate, plasma, or cold snap, he actually inflicts one of these every 1 second. As for his heavy attacks, the first hit pauses all personal damaging effects for 1.5 seconds, and if the opponent is not suffering from a stun debuff, he inflicts a daunted debuff and the pause will actually last for 10 seconds instead. But moving on to his special attacks, the Special 1. Each hit has a 100% chance plus a flat 50% chance to inflict a personal neuroshock passive as well as a magnetism debuff of 2.6 potency for 15 seconds. The magnetism reduces ability accuracy as well as combat power rate, and these effects can also be inflicted through the block. While the magnetism is active, his SP1 will actually cost 33% less power and will be more likely to be activated if the duration of the magnetism debuff is reduced by any means. On expiration, it'll actually re-inflict itself as a passive, the Special 2. On activation, it inflicts a delirium passive of 30% potency, which reduces offensive combat power rate as well as inverts your controls for the duration of the special attack, but it doesn't actually trigger when fighting opponents with #psychic shielding. On hit, it replaces all neuroshocks with degeneration passives, each dealing a certain amount of direct damage over 6 seconds, and on the first hit of this special attack, it can actually trigger through the block as well. The max stacks of these degens that you can actually have is 20, but let's actually move on to the Special 3. It inflicts a stun passive for 3 seconds, and this special will also cost 4.5% less power for each non-personal neuroshock on the opponent. The max of this is 33% less power, and the attack also inflicts 20 neuroshock passives and refreshes all of the existing stacks. But moving on to his awakened ability, he'll be able to block unblockable special attacks from skill champions, his daunted potency will be increased by a certain percentage, and for each non-damaging debuff or passive on the opponent, his specials will actually gain an additional amount of block penetration. And that is pretty much it for all of his abilities. He's definitely a whole book, a whole comic book to read, but all of that comes together to make one of the best champions in the game. And it only makes sense why they gave him all of these abilities. He's literally just Onslaught. But on to this man's attire in what even happened? Bro went from Skinny McG to I'll pick her up at 1 o'clock. The build is absolutely insane, and even though the drip didn't change too much, he's finally not wearing a diaper. One thing I really like is that his colors pretty much match the 7-star border as well. It's kind of the same thing as with Vox being a 5-star. Even though the design is as edgy as it can be, I absolutely love it, man. The only problem is that once you turn him around, he's a cockroach. And the metal at the back is clearly stabbing into his arm, so I don't know what is going on there, but hey man, drip is drip. And so all things considered, I'll actually be giving this a 8 out of 10. But anyways, on to the topic of why everybody plays him. And for this, it's quite simple. 1, it's his damage, 2, it's his utility, and 3, he's an insta-ban in Battlegrounds. Onslaught's damage is just not normal. Even using him as a 3-star, the damage just doesn't really make sense. His whole rotation revolves around building up neuroshocks onto the opponent and then converting them into degen passives with the SP2, and the damage that the degen does is, when it comes to utility, he's an absolute powerhouse, being immune to bleed, incinerate as well as shock, being able to reduce the opponent's ability accuracy. I mean, the dude just has so much to his kit, man. In my opinion, he's the best mutant champion in the game right now, and it's not even close. As an attacker, his value can be seen in places like story mode, war, battlegrounds, and even Necropolis. And let's not even talk about him as a defender, cause it's not even the neuroshocks that are annoying, it's just that the SP2 has inverted controls. To be honest, I completely understand why people ban him, cause I'm not dealing with all that. The man is absolutely busted, and you pretty much just have to see it for yourself. But that is pretty much it for Onslaught. Let me know down in the comments who next I should make a video on. Make sure to join my Discord group, the link will be down in the description. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
Como la ve mi cámara, si nos vamos para la mercado, que se quite la ropa cara, afírmale carnal, logramos coronar, me gusta la cola.